This episode of Joyride is being brought to you by Highbank. Highbank is a proud Columbus-based distillery. Look for Highbank spirits at your local liquor store and favorite bars around the city. By purchasing Highbank spirits, you're supporting and drinking local. Drink local, drink Highbank.
You're listening to Joyride, a podcast for people who love cars. Now sit back and enjoy the ride.
Rob.
Yes.
Robert.
Back.
It's me. Pete.
Again.
Yeah.
As they say.
We're here again.
Back in the saddle.
I like it.
Yes.
This is part 2.
Part 2.
We've never done a part 2.
No. It hasn't happened.
So last week was so engaging.
The fans went crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Over the stories, the interaction, the authenticity.
Some even said, when are you going to talk about cars? So we thought...
That's a really good question.
We thought we missed our opportunity with last week's guest to actually talk cars.
Right.
We'd have him back.
We'd have him back again.
We made him bring another bottle, though.
Yes.
So without further ado, nothing cool we saw this week. Nothing left to talk about.
No.
Right back into the interview.
Right into it.
Adam Hines.
Adam Hines, welcome back.
Yay.
To Joyride.
We need
Yay.
a clap track.
Yeah, there's a
something.
clap track happening right now. Appreciate it, guys.
You are the greatest.
Yeah.
Good job.
Appreciate you guys having me.
Welcome back.
I'm excited to be back. The last week was so much fun.
Well,
I brought some more bottles as payment
Fantastic.
for this podcast is brought to you by Highbank Distillery.
Highbankco.com. Check them out.
Yep.
We talked a lot about motorcycles in the last episode, and motorcycles have a special place in all of our hearts.
Clearly.
Absolutely. Adam Hines, one of the things that we always ask our guests, what was your first car?
I loved my first car, and I almost rebought my first car listening to your second podcast. Was it your second or your first podcast?
It
was the second.
It was a second. I think it was a second one.
Because it was the 5K challenge, right? That was episode 2.
Yes, it was a 5K challenge.
I see where
and
you're going with this, yeah.
I went back and I was disappointed that neither of you chose probably one of the best cars ever made.
There's certainly a few that think so. Emphasis on few.
I drove the 1994 electric blue Honda Del Sol SI.
Oh, baby.
Manual. It was amazing.
It
So,
was barely faster than that lawnmower he beat me on.
Pretty sure I beat your Chevelle when we raced that one time with
Listen.
your dad. Hey, yep. My Chevelle's way faster. Oh, let's race. Pretty sure the Del Sol beat it.
Every milestone of my life,
no.
he's better than me.
it doesn't matter
let's-
if you win by an inch or a mile.
A win's a win.
Winning's winning.
Here's
He
the
had
thing.
to let up so I could get back over so the semi didn't hit me.
Here's the thing. In life, Pete always won, right? Because
No.
I was like, who are you? So understand in high school, I hung out with Pete. He was a super cool kid. I was not. I felt blessed that Pete actually hung out with me.
Not true.
People were like,
true.
who are you? We went to a high school, had 500 people, graduating class. It was pretty big. I was like, I'm Pete's friend. They're like, oh yeah, I know that guy.
No.
Everybody knew
Pete.
Everybody knew Pete.
Absolutely.
I was just the guy that Pete hung out with. Nobody knew my name.
I was the guy that people forgot that Pete hung out with.
If my Del Sol happened to beat your 63 Chevelle,
73
73,
Yeah, 73.
which should have been a lot faster.
Well, it was just a boat anchor. It was the gas crisis, emissions. Like,
Well, I
there's
mean,
no horsepower. It was a
I mean, at the time you weren't
454
saying any of that. You were like, "Hey, I got my 73," and you were revving your engine. I'm like, "Okay, I got my Del
It's a
Sol."
73 Chevelle Malibu.
Ooh. Maroon.
Yeah.
Nice.
With
How'd you feel when your dad sold that car?
Swivel bucket seats. Have you guys ever seen this?
Wait. The
The
driver and
the
passenger?
passenger seat, you would pull a lever and you could literally rotate 90 degrees so that you could get out of the car.
Yeah.
It was a total novelty thing. Coolest fucking thing in my
No,
world.
I think that would be fantastic
Yeah, it
for
was.
modern
It
sports
was- it
cars
was-
because they're tough to get into.
Dude, mine is, I don't even think you couldn't swivel the seat to the left. You'd run into a frame rail.
That's a fair point.
But you were pissed when your dad sold that car.
I
I
was
remember that.
pissed.
I remember
Yeah.
that because
Yeah.
that, regardless if my Del Sol was way faster than it or not, that was a cool fucking car. That was a cool car.
It
So,
was a cool car.
I've always been curious. How did you find the Del Sol?
So I went through a couple things. I remember my parents had a thing where I got my first job at 15, started saving money. They always said, hey, however much money that you can save will match for your first car.
Nice.
Just to try and get me to understand what it is to save money, all that stuff. So I saved $3,500. So that means I had $7,000 to buy a first car. I remember we were at the Toyota dealership that matched with the BMW dealership. You remember that one?
Oh,
On
yes.
Whipple. Or
Kane.
Everhart. Yeah, Kane Toyota. There was a 1995 Jeep Wrangler Sahara.
Oh, this is where it comes from.
Oh, this is
So we may circle back to this later in this episode of a complaint that I expressed.
let's come back to
that
that.
they evidently lost, but regardless, we'll come back to it later.
Throw in some serious shade already.
It was a 1995 Jeep Wrangler Sahara 4-liter.
Do you remember what color it was?
It was
I hope
a
it was
tan color
green
with a
and
tan
tan
top. Tan color with tan top.
Oh, Tan.
Had square headlights on the
Yeah.
front. Was not circle headlights. It was square headlights.
MacGyver.
It was the MacGyver one, right?
Mhm.
But the thing had 78,000 miles on it. It was a manual.
Wow.
And zero rust on the thing.
wow.
And the price was $8,000. And my dad was like, I don't know if I want you to buy a Jeep, because he was worried about like rolling the Jeep and all that stuff. So we passed on that, and he was like, man, I wish we'd have bought that Jeep.
See, that's exactly where I
Yeah.
fit in with. I should have bought the Camaro.
Yeah.
I wish I would have bought that Camaro back
It
then.
would have been
man.
a little more classic. I remember that episode too.
Ah, damn. All right.
Avid listener. We went and looked at Eclipse. We went and looked at a Talon. I mean, I was into all the classic rice burner cars at the time before Fast and Furious came out. Right?
Can we talk about how great the 95, 97 Eclipse
Dude,
looked?
for our age group.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
You get that 1995, 1997, 1998
Yes.
Eclipse, even just GS, just to get the GS. No turbo. You're not getting the GST, GSX. Like,
GST.
do you remember the GST and the GSX? Right? Like,
Yeah.
so I mean,
Those
those were
cars
the
looked good.
They looked good.
What happened
man.
to the Eclipse? Where is it? Mitsubishi.
It went to an automatic V6.
Oh my gosh. Come on.
That performed like a V8. You remember that from Drew or whoever? Do you remember that?
Wait, what?
So this is the backstory,
Until
right?
just
So
now.
my dad also, when I owned my Del Sol after I bought that, he had a, again, this was the 90s. All cars sucked because they went down in horsepower. But he had a Mustang GT convertible, 225 horsepower, shit for a V8 nowadays. Still a fun
Absolutely.
car.
Yeah.
And we had this friend named Drew that his mom bought a brand new Eclipse GT is what they called them then. It was a convertible, and he wanted to race. My Del Sol almost beat him. Because he said it was an Eclipse that it was a V6, but it performed like a V8. I was like, well, I have a V8 that is a V8. And again, like it's stupid now. This was in the 90s or like early 2000s.
Well, we were all dumb kids at that point.
yeah,
right?
and like
Some of us are still dumb kids.
Pete and I had way too much fun in that 97 Mustang. Like way too much fun.
Remember
Way
we'd
too-
roll around with the top down in the middle of December? And
So
blast
there
the
was
heat?
also, I'm going to embarrass myself here. I didn't know what a downshift was.
Oh, I remember this.
Do you remember that in
Oh.
Florida when that RS,
Yeah.
when that Acura came up to us
Yeah.
and was taunting us? And I was in third gear, but we were only rolling like 20 miles an hour, and I slammed on the
you
gas.
lugged it.
Dude, I totally lugged it. And the guy just like took off. And I remember to this day, I was 16, 17 years old, and he's just like, time to get a fucking 4-banger. I was just like, ugh. I'm
And
just,
a Mustang GT, letting America down at that
I
point.
totally let America down. And then also, I think after we pulled out of Bad Boys when we were in Florida, remember when we pulled out that other, it was a 2000 Mustang GT white convertible?
Yeah.
Respect for that kid, right? He knew how to drive that car.
Yeah.
And it also had more horsepower than my dad's car.
Yeah.
But he could also shift that car real good. He was squawking every
Yeah. Every gear you'd hear a chirp.
and this is so and here's what I say to my father who owned this car. I never did that to my father's car.
No.
But
turns
seriously,
out Quattros can't chirp.
well, no, we didn't have the Quattro. We had the Mustang at that time. It
Did
wasn't
we?
the, yeah, we had the
Okay.
Mustang.
All right. Okay.
We came up next to each other. We were revving engines. I had the 97 Mustang still. He had the 2000. It was white, convertible. He was a nice kid.
Yeah.
Like he respect the car. I was like, yeah, you got a great car too. We took off. He was squawking it. He beat us. But I did not rip my dad's gears apart in that Mustang.
Right.
It was I was a gentle
Making
shifter.
sure that clutch and the gas
here's
were
the
really
thing.
working in
Here's the
unison
thing.
there.
If I ever broke my dad's car, I would never get to drive my dad's car
Fair
anymore.
enough.
And my dad had a Mustang GT, and then he goes from a GT to an Audi TT Quattro Turbo. That was a lot of fun.
That car.
Manual, right? And
you know,
like,
the Audi TT gets a lot of shit,
dude, that car.
for being a hairdresser's car. I don't know if
way.
you guys have heard that.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
will smack the shit
It's a
out of you.
Volkswagen Beetle.
It's a Volkswagen
Yeah.
Beetle.
Yeah.
No, that car is fucking great.
It's an awesome.
And my dad had the original. It was a 2002 white convertible, no spoiler. So they put that little wing on the back of that car because of the aerodynamics of that car. when you got up to a certain speed, it would get all squiggly.
It would get a little sketchy on
Yeah.
you, a little bit.
So,
Yeah.
and if you can find, there is this like collector's mod out there. Like if you can find that original TT without the wing, because Audi offered a free
recall.
Yeah, it was basically a recall where it's like, hey, come get this cool ass wing that we'll put
Yeah.
on the back of it.
Yeah.
So you won't crash over 60.
Right. It was 18-inch aluminum
It
wheels.
was white, right?
All white.
Yeah.
Like it was even like that's a thing, man. Now too, it was a 2002.
It looks good
You look
today.
inside the interior. That is a modern interior to this day. Other than the fact that it doesn't have a screen on the
Yeah,
front for
right,
something.
right.
How the buttons were laid out, the way that it drives, the thing was just awesome. It was 225 horsepower, all-wheel drive, turbo with a twin intercooler. It's going to do a 5-second 0 to 60, 5.2 second, whatever it was, 0 to 60. It's not the fastest. You start going around corners in that thing, you're not going to keep up with it. Pete helped my dad move into his first apartment, and then helped my dad move into his next house.
I've moved you and your family probably more times
More than anybody else.
Anybody in your
Probably
family.
more than I moved my own family. It was
Like
always like,
voluntarily too.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, cool. We gonna hang out? Yeah, I'm in. Like I love
It
some
was-
heavy shit. I
yeah.
mean, his dad always fed us, right? Like I think that year he like paid for me to go to Florida. So I
He
was
did.
Like,
That year was a ball year for us because when my dad moved down there, it was 2 weeks before your parents went down there, or a week and a half before,
that's
right?
right, yeah.
So we drove everything down. We moved my dad into his new apartment down there, and then a week and a half or 2 weeks later, his parents were coming down because they vacationed 45 miles from
Yeah,
where
it was about
Siesta
an
Key was
hour,
out.
about
Yeah,
an
so it
hour's
wasn't
out.
that far. So then like Pete spent the first week and a half with me down in Florida, and then his parents came down. Then I went and spent the next 4 days with him. And then he spent the next 3 days after that. So we were like in Florida for like a month.
Oh, that's
Like both of us.
awesome.
You know, it was
sounds
fun.
great.
This was like summer in high school.
Oh,
Like
man.
before this was our junior year. This was our junior year because our senior year it was me. I'm not gonna say his name. I'm gonna say Bave. Shout out Bave,
Shout
who
out to-
never uses real names.
Shout out to Babe.
Hey Bave.
you couldn't have picked a more masculine name for him.
Speaking of which, Babe, if you're ever in town,
Yeah, come on into
come on
Joyride.
up, dude. We'll have you on the
This
podcast.
is my second week in a row, Bave. Maybe I'll be here when you're here. You never know.
This show would come off the rails if Adam and
More
Babe,
than it has? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
It'll
If-
come off more than it has.
if Adam and Babe were here at the same time.
I'm gonna stop it. What are we getting into?
Well, no. We
You
never,
did- you
we
never
never talked
finished.
about
Your dad shit on the Sierra, and then we started talking about Florida. again.
Sorry.
how the hell did you end up in a 1997
So again,
Honda Del Sol.
I had a few cars. I never thought about a
We're
Jeep.
20 minutes into this fucking podcast, and we don't know how you ended up into the Honda Del
Never
Sol.
will. It's
Here's
the
the
magical
thing.
Del Sol.
Yeah, it is a magical piece of history because
just
the
appeared.
1994 electric blue Honda Del Sol SI will always have a piece in my heart. After your second podcast where you talked about your first car, I literally was trying to convince my wife that a $4,500 purchase for a Del Sol down in North Carolina was a great idea. Even
Which-
to the point where I called my dad. I was like, would you go pick this up with me? He's like, yeah, I'll pick it up with you. Is your wife okay with it? I was like, I don't know yet. He's like, well, I don't know yet either.
So,
Okay,
after the Jeep, you immediately went to the Honda?
No, we went to the Eclipse. I think it actually was a Talon. It wasn't an Eclipse. It was a Talon. It was a 95 Talon. But it was a GS. So it wasn't turbocharged. It wasn't anything like that. But it looked cool.
Yeah.
Like that was a cool car for us in high school. It was rankedy.
We had a friend that had one.
We did.
Yeah.
His
Well,
name
and that's the
was-
thing about Eclipses is they looked fast, but they weren't exactly fast.
You could. I mean, so here's the thing. I think it was just the S was like not fast at all.
right.
Then you had the GS, which had a few more things, and you could do things to it to make it okay to
You could
drive.
do dirty things to that car.
Paint the exhaust manifold.
No, you could
put some stickers on that car.
you could put a few NOS stickers on. That would
30
that
horse
would-
for every
yeah.
NOS sticker you put
Every
on.
sticker you put on it was like 3 horsepower. Do you remember Fast Track? The stickers that we put on our window.
Oh my God!
It
You
was
guys
just
started
me
a
and
car
Andrew.
club.
Yeah.
I forgot, and I wasn't invited in because I had a shitty 91 Accord.
We had a 1991.
3 friends started a car club.
One didn't get his.
I wasn't even offered. You.
Wait. Do you remember the photo shoot we had? At his dad's farm. We had it in the grass. I think you took the pictures.
I feel like such a piece of shit right now.
I mean,
Okay, wait.
1991 poop around a corn, Pete.
Wait, run me down. Run me down the roster to what was it called? Fast Track?
Yeah, it was Fast Track. We had a
Such
huge
a dumb name.
car club, right? It was probably the first logo I've ever created. It was the name Fast Track in an oval.
And it
was
sucked,
really
by
great.
the way.
It was a great mark. We had
Oh, I forgot about that.
how many
I must have
hundreds?
buried
No,
that
we had
so
like
deep.
we had a lot of people involved. It was at least
You had 3 people.
2 people.
Tens of people.
No, we only had 2.
I buried that so deep because it was so hurtful.
Yeah. Do you remember?
So we still haven't got to the basis of you walking into a dealership
It wasn't a dealership. So
and
it was,
approaching a Del Sol.
Yeah, so it was old school, right? So this was 2001, before Craigslist, before the internet was huge and you could do a bunch of amazing things on it. I found this car on the classifieds, which for you that don't know, that may be born, after 1990, classifieds were a ad source in the newspaper that people would post. You could pay per line to get your ad posted in it. It was like $10 a week per line or whatever. So if you want to put a classified ad and your description was 5 lines long, you're going to pay $50 a week, to have your ad in there. So I found a Del Sol through the classifieds. They were offering $7,000 for the Del Sol.
What made you look at the Del Sol?
I think it was my dad is a big reliability guy, and like what sort of car can you get and it will also be reliable. My dad did not suggest a Del Sol. I think within our friend group, there was some people that talked about them. And as I'm searching as a kid, and I'm thinking about, so my sister had a 1991 Eclipse, was her car. But that was a clamshell style, Eclipse.
It looks like a door wedge.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, it was a fun car. My sister liked it. So my sister went the opposite effect than me. So what my parents gave when I said they wouldn't match is they said, we will give you $3,000 for a car, or whatever you save will match on top of that $3,000. My sister was like, great, you're going to give me $3,000 for a car.
I'll spend $4,200.
No, my sister was like, go find me a car for $3,000, Dad. And so my dad went and found a 1991 Honda Eclipse, or not Honda, Mitsubishi Eclipse. It was white. It was a manual. It was a good car for it. For me, when I saw that, I was like, because then my
That's what
So
put
what-
him into saving mode. He's like, I don't
dude,
want
no,
one of those.
I'm serious. I'm serious. No. This was the conversation. My dad was like, yeah, when you're 16, this will be your car. I was like,
No
What?
fucking way, Dad.
wait. And so I did. I had a conversation. I was like, what if I don't want that car? There's like, well, whatever you save will match. Starting to save now.
I'm 12 and a half years old.
Got a job next to it.
I'm not lying. Like I did. My sister thought that car was so cool. She loved it. She was grateful. Loved that car. She wrecked it twice. She thought that car was great. I did not think that car was cool. I did
Was
not want to
it
drive
because
that
your
car.
sister drove it, or
No.
you didn't?
As soon as I saw it driving there, I was like, I wouldn't want to drive that. I had a standard in cars.
a high standard.
It wasn't high. It was just, I wanted what Doug DeMuro me, right? I have the quirks and features that I like about a car, and uniqueness and brand and presence and feeling. I'm like, I have all this stuff that incorporates into why I want to own what I want to own. Maybe we'll get into it later on in this episode of like, what are my cars that I want to have? But it goes into that. Like, it's not this, I love my Mercury Cougar because it's not a Mustang. I love it. If I didn't have the Cougar, would I want a Mustang? Maybe. I maybe would. But because my family history is a Cougar that nobody has, nobody drives around, I freaking love that.
So
You
I
know?
just pulled up an image for the 1991 Mitsubishi Eclipse because I was not familiar. Oh my gosh, it looks horrible.
I don't
Yeah.
think it looks horrible. I think it looks beautiful.
What do you mean
there
that
is
doesn't
a-
look horrible? That
Yeah.
looks real bad.
I think that's period correct, and in fact,
It was period correct.
I like it so much that I like the Talon version better because
It
even-
looks like an Eagle Talon.
It's even weirder.
Yeah. It looks like an Eagle Talon.
Well,
Absolutely.
they're the same car.
When did they get refreshed? When did the Eclipse get
95.
It was 95.
Okay, so
Yeah.
95 is where I come on to the
Yeah, the
Eclipse.
Fast and the Furious
Listen,
version
that,
of the Eclipse.
that neon green Fast and the Furious Eclipse.
Dude, we had kids.
Oh,
You remember kids
man.
in school, right? Like they had the Eclipse that had the body kits on them. I mean, those
Oh, man.
those cars were.
I wish
Amazing.
I wish I owned a body kit like
But
exhaust.
you know what
aftermarket
was
wheel
so-
shop in them.
But what was
late
funny,
90s.
what I always appreciate, again, shout out to Andy. Andy had a 96, I think it was a 96 Talon, maybe 97.
Forest green.
It was forest green,
was.
but it was the all-wheel drive turbo.
Yeah,
version.
yeah.
It was,
yeah.
Or was it front-wheel drive? I think
No,
it was all-wheel drive.
all-wheel
yeah.
drive, yeah.
What I appreciate about Andy was he didn't do shit to the car except under the engine. And so he didn't touch the outside of that car because it looked good. And then you had these kids like your buddy Drew. He had a Eclipse that looked amazing. The body kit on it, all that stuff.
It was a
went-
show car. It
but
was.
it was
Okay,
a
okay,
GS.
okay.
It didn't have shit under the hood. So it looked like it went
Ah.
180 miles an hour. That car couldn't go 118. My SI Del Sol, I loved it. It was the right power for me. It was like 6.7 seconds 0 to 60. Nothing crazy fast. It was quick. It was fun.
feels faster.
But it did. But like
Well, when you're in
also,
a small two-seater
you're
car
in a small
like
two-seater.
that.
Like I always attribute it to the Miata, right?
Right.
It's
Absolutely.
It's this
Yes.
two-seater that I could take the top off, fit. And the best feature of that car was you're going to fit the roof of the car that would go off into your trunk. And
the
still have a
target
trunk.
top, baby.
It would still have a trunk. You would slip it in, and it had this hydraulic system that would lift it up, and you still had a full trunk when you did that, right? I have no regrets with my first car that I bought. I love that car. And so
It was
we
a really
talked about this.
strong decision.
It was a strong decision.
It was good.
Because you guys also need to know that I was a 6-foot kid that was probably also like a nice solid 225 with like long hair, long locks coming off. And I was a 225 that like I'm a little over 225 now, but I at least have a thing called muscle.
It's a muscular.
I started lifting, and so I have some muscle. I didn't have any muscle back then, so I was this like awkward kid, 225. I had great friends. I was friends with Pete. That's all that mattered because
Still couldn't get in the car club.
Pete was the cool kid in school, and so the fact that I was friends with Pete, it just made me way cooler.
I'm so mad about this fast track.
At the time, you were talking about getting an Integra. You remember that?
This didn't come up in the episode, but my dad had a neighbor
Yeah.
at his mom's house, and he was getting rid of his 92 Integra, which
Yeah.
was a two-door.
I love the
Automatic,
early
though.
model Integras.
Automatic.
You got the quad headlights.
And
Yeah.
him and my dad didn't
Oh,
come to
man.
terms on the price or something, and it fell apart.
Dude,
Oh.
I remember trying to convince Pete, even though it wasn't his decision. I was like, dude, you could be part of Fast Track. Thinking that Fast Track was all cool. And I will also say, I feel like the Del Sol, I made a brand for it as a brand guy. Because who wanted to buy a Del Sol after that, Pete?
Who wants to now?
But who in your family wanted to buy a Del Sol and rock a Del Sol?
My brother?
Yeah, exactly. The guy that rocks that Hellcat, that 708 horsepower Hellcat.
I think he'll retract that now.
He
was an
loved-
impressionable
He
kid.
loved my Del Sol. Nicholas, Nico, my buddy.
Nico, don't listen to him. You were
You
were
know
young,
how
you
cool that
didn't know
Del Sol.
better.
No, the fact is your Del Sol was not that great, but it was. I still respected the fact that you had a Del Sol.
Shit, he did have a Del Sol.
He did. He owned one.
Forgot about
Did
that.
you not remember that he
No.
bought a Del Sol?
He did. Holy shit. My memory sucks. Wow.
Nico, when you're
My
on this
brother looked up
podcast-
to you more
Yeah.
than he looked up to me. So this is my last episode on Joyride Podcast. Adam's replacing me. Damn it. God, you're bringing up all kinds of nasty shit. So, all right. The Del Sol, my brother.
Yep.
Okay, whatever.
Yep.
So you have the Del Sol. You get rid of the Del Sol because you go to school, right?
So yeah, I loved my Del Sol. I took great care of it. I had it a year into college, and then moving to Columbus for college, I was realizing that when you have to park on the street all the time, your car gets jacked up. And I had too much respect for my car. Seriously, I bought it in mint condition. I kept it in mint condition. And at the same time, what was happening, I was moving into a house or an apartment complex that had some room, and I didn't want the car to get broken into. And my grandfather at the time was going through some vision problems and had to offload his 97 F-150
That's right. I
crew
do
cab.
remember that, yeah.
Or not, it wasn't a crew cab, it was an extended cab.
Extended
So
cab,
they
yeah.
didn't have crew cab yet back then. So I sold the Del Sol for a good price. My grandfather gave me a great price on the truck, and I bought the truck, and I drove that for 2 years. If you listen to the episode previous to this, then Pete and I had a conversation about selling our cars, buying motorcycles. After 2 years, I sold that truck, bought my sister's Ford Focus.
Clips, no.
I will say that it was a 2002 Ford Focus hatchback.
That's right. It was a hatchback.
It was a 2-door. That car was, I would not say that the engine was super reliable. Like by 130,000 miles, I was putting a lot of money into it. The driving experience though was super tight. It was great. The suspension was great. All that. So
Really?
like it was actually a really fun car to drive.
It's pretty small car.
It was like you could whip it around. Like to me, it reminds me of the Ford cars more now. Like obviously, I'm a Ford guy. Pete's a Chevy guy. We've been giving each other shit since we were,
Since I wasn't allowed in fast track.
10 years old. Even though we both owned Hondas for our first car.
Yeah.
You were a Ford guy. He's a Chevy guy. We both own Hondas. I think that just explains itself.
It was that one thing, right? Like my dad had a Ford truck. Both my grandfathers had Ford trucks. It's what you grew up with. Peter has a GMC truck. The reality is, it's way nicer than my Ford truck. I think it's great. But also the reality is
We're recording, right, Rob? You got that?
We hook it up. I'll outpull him in my F-150.
Oh, yeah, right. I went to the GMC because, like, talk about quirks and, like, random stuff. I didn't like the dashboard glow of the equivalent Chevy.
Yeah.
Because Chevys have this greenish kind of hue that comes from the gauges, and I hate it. So
GMC's red?
Red.
Yeah.
Not much better, but better. I don't know why you can't get some like nice white and like clean.
Well, in like the Ford Mustang, you can change the colors, all that stuff. Anyway,
I will say, Rob, I'm a huge Ford Mustang fan with you.
I'm outnumbered on this.
Shout out to the Mustang.
Shout out GT350, who I will own at some point, or preferably the R.
Listen, I think it's been awesome that since we had that episode of the Truck Daily Crush, Adam has texted us
Oh my God.
half a dozen times about different GT350s that he would like to own.
I have more open text messages, like group text, than I've ever had in my whole life. This is my last episode of Joyride. Adam's taking over, kicking me out, doing it better.
No,
it's the Fast Track podcast.
Fast Track Podcast.
I'm a bitch. I can't even be on my own podcast. I went to a 2004 Honda Civic 4-door DX, no AC, manual transmission, like basic as you could be, right? Yeah. Because it was the most practical thing for gas mileage.
40 miles.
Yeah, I got 40 miles of the gallon of that thing. So after that, because I had no AC, and then when I found out that my wife and I were having a child, I started thinking like, okay, is a car with no air conditioning stock okay for a child? Probably answer is no. And then when we went and found out what we were having, we found out we were having a little girl. I don't know what happened. There was seriously a switch that flipped in my head. We found out at 4 p.m. that we were having a girl. It was
Who remembers the time?
It was 4 p.m. on I think it was on a Tuesday.
He's even a better father than I am.
Tuesday or Thursday. It was an odd day of the week, or
right.
I guess that would maybe even even day. That's something different.
wait.
I figure it is, but like I don't know why I feel like Tuesdays and Thursdays are
It's a
odd.
work week. It's an odd day in the work week.
It is because like Wednesday's in the middle, so it feels even to me,
Yeah.
right? Like that you're in the middle. Of
That's
something.
incorrect.
It
Wednesday's
is
the
incorrect.
third
I
day.
understand it's incorrect, but that's how I
Third
feel.
day of the week.
Regardless. So we found out at 4 p.m. that we were having a girl. We went from the doctor's office over to Roush Honda that was a half mile away from the doctor's office, and I bought a Honda Pilot.
Oh, yeah.
You bought that from a dealership.
I bought it from a dealership, Roush Honda. I bought it used. I bought a 2011 Honda Pilot.
I thought you got that from like a private party.
Mm-mm. Nope. It was a good price. I mean, it had 40,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
I love that car.
My wife gives me shit almost weekly about me trying to be like you, and She will tell you to your face that I wanted a Honda Pilot after you got a Honda Pilot.
That model year of the Honda Pilot was really, really good.
I agree because there were so many people that thought it was ugly. For Honda, it was masculine.
Yes.
Like it was a masculine body style from 2009 when they had that more square front end. They did a modification from 2013 to 2014 where they rounded out the headlights slightly, but that body style was a little more masculine for Honda. And
I didn't
Honda
like it. I didn't like it when they painted the fenders the same as the body. I like the two-tone like plastic and sheet metal version, like the most like the latest models. Everything was painted.
Are you talking about the Element?
Oh, that's what I am
you're
talking
about. The Element, not the. I'm talking about the Pilot. My Pilot that I had, the 4x4 V6 Pilot. That I had. My wife had the Element.
I was gonna say you had the Element too.
Yeah, so that was my wife's. That was my wife's car.
I'm all fucked up over here.
That's why I thought it was private party because I'm the whole time I'm thinking
the Element was private party. The Element was. I want to say it was an 03 Honda Element. It was black with gray plastic trim. It was a good color combo, and that car. My wife and I did an East Coast 3.5 week trip from Maine down to the.
You slept in that thing, didn't you?
Yeah, I took out the back seats and made a bed in it. Like we camped in that thing. For
yeah,
3.5
you
weeks.
did.
Yeah, we came back pregnant.
Hello,
our first child.
How did that happen?
Well, you see,
can
Peter,
get
when
into
two
that.
people love each other.
Yes, that's all right.
Yeah, so that was my wife had the Element. I had the Pilot. From the Pilot, I transitioned. So again, we touched on the last episode. I own one of the owners for Highbank Distillery, and when Highbank was ramping up, I felt there was value / an excuse to get a truck.
An excuse. I like the way you put that.
Value / excuse.
Yes,
there is value in it. I missed my truck when I had the 97 F-150. I liked it. I liked the practicality of it. I bought a 2011 F-150 FX4 fully loaded. Things a nice ruby red. What would you describe the red? I'm colorblind.
No, it's not ruby. It's more
maroon red. Like it's a deep red.
Mauve.
It's not.
Maybe not.
It's not quite mauve.
It's not mauve.
No. It's just
but
dark red.
It's not fire
dark
truck
red.
No.
Yeah,
It's not fire
It's not
truck
torch red.
No.
Yeah, it's got the nice wheels on it. It's got excellent paint on it, painted bumpers. It's got a hard cap on the back that matches it. It's got carpeted bed liner.
Don't knock the hard cap.
To make it worse, he puts boat carpet in the back. So
It was there when I bought it. You will see. You just saw that a few weeks ago. It's been used, right? Has it been used?
It has been used.
It's been used. When I bought it, it was pristine. Not pristine anymore because I'm using the truck as a truck.
it's pontoon boat carpet in the back of the truck.
There's nothing better than a
I
pontoon
have finished
boat, sir.
a kitchen. I have finished a bathroom. I have finished 2 phases of a basement, all using my F-150. I have gone and picked up bourbon barrels. I have done a ton of crap in my truck. It's definitely gotten used. I love my truck.
What's the next car you get after this truck?
And
when do you get it?
Well, so here's the thing. It's how much money do I have?
This is where you tell me. What?
Yeah, exactly.
You want to put your checkbook out there on the internet?
No.
This is a legitimate question.
Yeah,
you have a 2011 truck with
Yeah.
whatever miles. You're
Yeah.
getting a new car, and then maybe not.
What's it gonna
next
be?
month, but
So,
next year
no,
or
so-
whatever.
There's two things. As of right now, the truck has no exit plan. the truck is gonna be the truck.
Yeah.
My goal for my truck, the truck's paid off. It's still in great shape. I have 154,000 miles on that thing. I've never had an issue with it in the 3.5 years that I've owned it, so far. Put a lot of miles on it because I drive a lot. My goal would be that truck could be my truck for the next 15, 20 years if I want it to be. As like the truck that I have. It may not be. I'm not saying it will be.
You're not locking into it.
I'm not locking into it, but it's a truck that I trust. Mm-hmm. It's a truck that's been well taken care of by myself and the previous owners. I would then move on to some other things. As we touched in the previous episode, I have a 1969 Mercury Cougar as a classic that I drive often over the summer. I mean, probably 2 days a week on average in nice weather. But not obviously as a daily. The 2 cars that I really want is a Mustang GT350.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah.
My loins
So
just perked up a little bit.
When I just sent you an article a couple days ago on
You
the
did.
affordability
Yes.
that's happening on Mustang GT350s. Wow. But I will say
I didn't get this article.
that I will say that I want my Mustang GT350 under 8K miles, because I would presume that I would keep this Mustang GT350 for the life
Forever.
of me, right?
Yeah.
And will I drive it? Absolutely, I will drive it. But I'll probably put 2K miles on it a year.
Yeah.
And so if I can find one under 10K, under 8K, and I own it for the next 20 years, that means in 30 years, that car's going to have 30,000 miles on it. You know, it's going to be pristine,
and the
shape.
350s, they don't come around very often.
They don't. I mean, I've seen like, which is so sad, right? Like, I go to a lot of places. I've seen like maybe 10, like lively driving around in my life. 10
I've only
ones.
seen 2.
I thought this was supposed to be like the big tits Mustang now. Like,
so here's the thing: like when you watch reviews, GT350 is the driver's Mustang.
Yes,
because it is the last Mustang that's high
never
performing.
heard it said like that.
It's the high performing Mustang, 526 horsepower that has a manual transmission.
comes with manual.
Yeah,
And the 500 doesn't.
For me, will I track my GT350 if I own it for 20 years? Maybe 5 times I'll track. Maybe 5 times I'll track my GT350 for fun, and it'll be really like
it'll be
conservatively.
a blast.
But it's the driver's experience that you guys touched on last episode, or this won't be last episode when we talk about
Couple
this. But
episodes
last one I listened to, episode 4, the driver experience. I 100% agree. Nowadays, car manufacturers are way more focused on what is your track time, what 0 to 60 can you have on an automatic transition that's super fast, as opposed to how much fun can somebody have when they're driving a car.
100%.
When you guys talked about that, I was just nodding my head the entire time and wished that I was right here right now talking to you guys and saying that I 100% agree that my Honda Del Sol did a 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. That was slow, and especially today's terms. But it was so much fun. When I was 16 years old.
Yes.
7 seconds, 0 to 60.
Absolutely.
Which is, again, extremely slow in today's standards. But in 2001, that wasn't that slow. The Mustang GT did it in 5.7 seconds.
Right.
Like, so my Del Sol was 1.3 seconds slower than that.
I'm gonna get this car before both of you guys. First time in 25 years, I'll actually be thought of as cool by you guys. Maybe I'll get into stupid car club. 2016, 45.5.
They're almost in the 30s.
Dude, I'm
insanity.
There are, but I mean, you got to find them in the 30s. You're buying them with 38,000 miles, which isn't the worst. Like
it's not the worst.
Literally, it's not the worst, because when I think about how I'm going to drive it, and if I'm going to drive it 2,000 to 4,000 miles a year,
I might buy that.
That car is still going to be under 50,000 miles in 20 years from now, right? Like it's still going to be a low mileage car, because my goal, as I've heard you guys talk, I am going to have a 6-car garage that's going to have multiple cars in it. And so when you talk about the next car, it will probably be the GT350, but it also depends on, could I find a great deal on a Shelby Cobra before that? Because
Shelby Cobra.
There's a special place in my heart for Shelby Cobra. Again, it goes back to my family restoring cars with the Mercury Cougar. The only car that I was told that my grandfather would have given up on the Cougar for was a Shelby Cobra. He loved Cobras, and my dad loves Cobras. What I would ultimately love, and I know it'll probably never happen, Steve Hines, if you're listening to this, my father, I would love to restore a Cobra with my dad, but we live 200 miles away from each other, so it would probably take 10 years to restore or to buy a kit car. Like, I'm totally fine with the kit cars, and it goes back to your restoration mods that you talked about in the previous episode. Because a Cobra is one of those things for me. The Cougar that I own, all original. But I'm also going to never drive that Cobra 60 miles an hour.
Absolutely.
It's a cruiser that I'm gently driving. The Cobra, give me that 5.0 Coyote engine from Ford.
Get that Coyote.
And let me do a 10.5, quarter mile time in that thing. Like, I want it to look like it was, from the 60s, but I want that thing to have a modern, 5-liter V8 in it. Like, I would love it, but at the same time,
kill yourself. But it would be fun.
So to find one of those, new, you're gonna be paying $55,000 for it plus, for something like that, as opposed to finding a 289 or a 351
dollar for dollar Cobra GT350.
Because I already have a classic car, I'm scratching that itch. I would go GT350.
Okay.
Because
that's the right choice.
Because I do
It's the right
feel
choice.
like right now GT350 isn't getting a bunch of love.
No, it's not.
I feel like in 10 years GT350 is going to be getting lots of love, and it's going to be an expensive car.
You're going to be giving yourself lots of love when you see the post I just sent you.
I'll
Don't pull it up
later.
now.
I'll look at it later.
One of the challenges that I wanted to lay down for both of you guys and for our audience out there is
Bring it on.
I want to know, what is your 5-car garage?
Can I go?
Do you
I know it. I also need to still shout out a complaint that I had.
wait?
Joyride
First off,
podcast.
don't hit the complaint yet.
All right.
This is 5-car garage. It's got to cover your needs of your family, so it can't be just 5 fucking toys that you have.
Yep.
It's got to be 5 cars that are your only 5 cars.
I know it.
For your family of 3.
I get it, Rob. I
You know
know
when
it.
people count sheep before they go to sleep?
Adam counts the cars.
I
It's a
know what I'm
5-car.
doing.
It's a 5-car garage.
Car number 6 is one that I hate, but I'm going to have to buy. But I'm not going to put
This
it in
is
my
5
And
cars.
Pete knows,
It's not
Pete-
6 cars.
I know it is, and I'm not going to include it in the 6 car because I don't want it. But
This
Pete knows
6
exactly what that car is.
in your driveway. Is that what you're talking
No,
about?
it's going to be something that I wish I never owned, but I'm probably going to have to own someday.
Which
and
is
I'll
what?
explain that. So my 5 cars.
First off, I can't believe that you have your 5 cars already.
Yeah, because
I told you, he thinks about it all the time.
This is fantastic. Go ahead.
when I'm listening to your podcast, I literally wish I could yell at you at the same time that you guys are talking about stuff. Like, I hate that I can't talk to you and have a conversation. My cars are as follows. I'm going to always have a truck.
Okay.
Always. So it's going to be some form of a Ford F-150 to 350. I don't know what it's going to be, but I will have some form of a truck. Depends on my wealth status. If I'm super wealthy, it's going to be that 250 to 350 range diesel engine, 6.7 liter. I'm always going to have the Cougar. We'll never get rid of that Cougar. So that's 2 cars.
That's 2
right?
cars.
GT350, 3 cars. Shelby Cobra, 4 cars. Jeep Wrangler Ultimate 4-door Rubicon as car number 5. Sons of bitches. Previous episode,
Took it in 2
somebody
episodes,
said
but
that
he
they're
got it.
going to keep me from buying this Jeep, and I had to educate them on not buying it, blah, blah, blah. Completely inaccurate
Not
in
true.
that form.
Not true.
It will be a Wrangler. Can I explain to you why a Wrangler?
Hit me with it.
Okay, so I have 3 kids. Name a 3-kid convertible.
Mercedes 6x6.
Under $220,000.
Sure, if you got to go that route.
Yeah. Name me, seriously. So the joy that I find in my girls riding in the Cougar, and now I have a 2.5-month-old right now. And so when I think of
He puts her on the hood.
when I think of 3 and 4 and 5 years from now, of like in the summertime, spring, summer, fall, we drive in that Cougar, right? But now I have 3. Now I have 3 kids,
do it
and
now.
that legally in the back seat where my seatbelts can attach into, the car seats in a safe manner that my wife will let me actually do. Now, can I modify? I can modify the Cougar like 3. Will my wife ever let me do that? Hell no. She will not. She will not. My wife will not. She's too much of a rule follower. Which I love her for. There is literally name me another convertible that can fit 3 car seats, because even if you're talking 3 years from now, my oldest is 5 now. She's going to be 8. She'll be 8 then. Okay, she's out of the booster seat, but then I have still 2 other kids in car seats. So she's going to have to sit in the middle, and then I have 2 car seats, right? So what car can I have fun in that's not, and it can't be a 2-door Jeep, because the 2-door Jeeps only have 2 seats in the back.
Right.
The 4-door Jeeps, the wheel well moves back further, so it allows you to have a little more room in the second row that you can actually have 3 seats that go across the back. And there's a bunch of forums about this. There's a bunch of people that talk about it, about having 3 kids and driving a Jeep Wrangler. So to your point, bitches, a Jeep Wrangler, to me, it's not that
He's coming hard because he came after the girls. It's not about the girls.
Here's the thing. Obviously, I want a Rubicon because, like, I have standards, right? Like, I want something that it's not going to be the Sport S or Sport X or like whatever it is. It's going to be a Sahara or Rubicon minimum.
What
for
color?
What I buy.
Ideal world, what color
It
is-
depends on the year. It depends on the year. Dude, I tell you, you're going to probably think I'm crazy, but like the primer color, like that gray that they have that looks like primer with black, to me looks really freaking sweet. When you have black rims, black top, black Rubicon on the side, that car looks really cool to me. There is also, when you go to the Sahara model, you get the same color painted hardtop as the side. I test drove a silver. It was a 2015 Sahara silver Jeep with the matching. It was like the cheap man's.
Definitely, it looked good. I'm not gonna lie.
It was the cheap man's Mercedes G-Wagon. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Like it was the cheap G-Wagon.
Super cheap, man.
Dude. It was because it was all silver and it had black rims. It had black. Like it was murdered out. Like other than that, it was
Love
great.
it.
Now,
It did look
obviously,
good, though.
I didn't buy it. Like there is a part of me that wants to wheel it. Like it's gonna be dependent on what do I want to use the Jeep for. I want it to be a weekend rider for the girls. That week, all of us could go get ice cream on a weekend with the top down.
That's all you're going to be able to deal with the ride quality. So
I
ride like shit is what I'm saying.
I will disagree with that a little bit, but
Listen,
I
Pete,
also
when you
don't-
only have to drive 2.5 miles down the road.
I'm not going to be driving it to Florida. Maybe I will.
Yeah, you will.
never know.
And
I
you're gonna
actually
regret it.
I actually probably would. I mean,
I know
it
you
just,
would.
You
want to
know
be on
me.
the beach.
Yeah.
You want to be on the beach with your
Yeah.
convertible 4x4. You absolutely would.
I'm a brand guy.
I'm
You
a
gotta-
brand guy.
You got to fit the brand.
Yeah. Is it even really a Jeep? if
Guys,
it's
I have
never
to
on the
take an
sand?
Instagram picture of me with a Jeep on the on the beach. Sorry, we're driving it.
So you've got 5 cars, or is that 4?
Well, so here's also the caveat.
Where's the 6th?
I have 5 cars.
Yeah.
My wife still needs a car.
That's the 6.
That's not
7.
That's the
You've
6.
turned 5
That's
cars.
the 5.5. So my wife has the Honda Odyssey Elite, fully loaded,
Okay.
nice minivan. She could care less. But so I have this dream in my life, and maybe I'll accomplish it someday. My oldest loves my oldest Emma. She's 5 years old. She loves the Cougar. So does my middle child, my center child, Addie. She loves the Cougar too. They love riding in it. So I've promised them I want to have 3 classic cars. So when I'm done, I'm giving it up, that I could pass on a car to each child.
Giving up the ghost.
Yeah, that's seriously. I have this. I really do. I have this goal in my life that I could have the Cougar, that 69 Cougar that Emma would get. The Shelby Cobra would go to my middle child, Addie.
Dude, she would be a terror in that car.
She
You're not allowed to let her
she's gonna
drive
fit
that car.
it. She's gonna fit that car.
Oh my god.
And then my wife, and I respect my wife, and Pete has to know how much I respect my wife. The
This is
fact
the
that I would
best
buy this
part.
car.
Yeah.
Pete has to know that I respect my wife,
Oh.
and because it's her dream car, she wants a Stinger Corvette.
Oh,
I hate Corvettes. I hate them.
Why?
Because he's an idiot.
No, in one of your previous episodes, you guys spoke to it, and I was literally yelling as I was trying to so I listened to your podcast as I'm putting my children to bed. So I sit
That's
in a
not
rocking
great.
I sit in a rocking chair, and my kids are trying to go to bed, and they can't hear anything, and I'm listening. And I was literally yelling. I was like flinching in this seat, this rocking chair. I'm like, so one of the things with the Corvettes is, where does the Camaro live now?
Right.
Where does the Camaro live now? And I know this is more of a thing because we have a $60,000 Corvette that can do 3.3 seconds and a 0 to
The
60.
new Corvette is
Yeah.
insane.
And I agree that I absolutely respect the Corvette. I just disrespect the poor man's sports car. I disrespect that. Where
This coming from the man who wants the poor man's G-Wagon.
No. Okay, touche. Just because I want a wheeler that doesn't cost $80,000.
Don't listen to this guy. You don't own it yet.
I'm gonna wheel that shit.
You can't say wheeler if you don't have a Jeep.
But so a Mustang has evolved into where it's at, and to me has evolved rightly so into being the 500 and 700 horsepower club, because the rest of the muscle cars have gone that way.
Yeah.
And then you have the Camaro, ZL1 or whatever.
ZL1LE or
whatever it is.
I think it'll smoke.
Doesn't smoke a GT350 around a track. That's for sure.
No, but
I have
maybe
plenty of YouTube videos that prove it. I mean, all I'm saying is, it's not that I don't respect the car. It's not that at all. I do respect Chevy. I think they're trash, but I do respect what they do. And would I love to drive a Camaro? Yeah, I think
You
it
would
be
never
fun.
be allowed to drive a Camaro.
No, if you guys ever own one, you'll probably never let me drive one.
I'll never own a Camaro. I'm on record in a previous podcast.
You'll never own a Camaro?
No.
Even to own 263s?
I might own a '69 Camaro.
But I'm saying
69
even to own
Camaro's
two
the where it's
63s in
at.
Palace,
I might definitely.
or to go buy a Camaro and give it to somebody else to own some classic cars.
You're confusing a Camaro with a Corvette.
No. Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're right. Sorry. You're right. I am.
Yep.
They're so similar.
Well, I'm pretty sure I don't have a top five that I could rattle as fast as you did.
Well, I want to hear your top five. Seriously. So I rattled mine like quick because I dream about this. Because do I have 11 cars? For sure, I have 11 cars. But what do I think? What do I think is realistic? And for like, what legacy do I want to leave for my girls? I mean, because I hope that my wife will continue to let me, purchase things. And
I think a 5-car
things.
garage is perfectly reasonable because you have the 2-car garage that's attached to the house
and a 4-car garage detached.
and a 3 or 4-car garage
Yeah.
detached.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can do a 2-car door with double deep.
with double deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a workshop and then room for 3 cars.
That's exactly
Yeah,
how my old
exactly
neighbor
it.
Kevin
Yeah,
has his
totally.
new garage.
So, Rob, tell me yours. 5 cars right now.
I don't have
No,
them.
rattle them off right now if you
No!
had to. Please tell me. No, I need to know. The listeners need to know. As of right now, it's not that it can't change, Rob.
Right.
What 5 cars? And then we're going to go to this guy over here.
Okay, so
Wait a minute.
number 1,
Take your minute right now.
Man.
he's put me on the spot. And
I
he's
am.
He's giving you a minute.
I
Okay,
need 5.
so number 1 would be like a 2006 to 2009 Porsche Cayman,
Okay. 1.
mainly because
How many miles do you want to have on this car when you buy it? And what price are you projecting to buy it for?
under 30.
Under 30,000
Under
miles?
30, under 30K,
Under
less
30K.
than 40,000 miles.
Okay, so Boxster.
No. Fuck off. No. Okay, so that's the thing. I was looking at. It's insane the difference between the Cayman and the Boxster.
Watch him talk about a Boxster being a real Porsche now. Go ahead.
Listen. No, the Cayman is where it's at for sure.
I am very up to date on that 4-cylinder Boxster, by the way.
Fuck that 4-cylinder Boxster.
Dude, I think it's amazing.
No,
I understand the sound of the V6. I understand
no.
the sound, but the performance of the 4-cylinder with the turbo. But okay, go
It's
on. I
fine.
digress. Go
in
ahead.
line 6 is where I want to
Okay,
be.
so you have a Porsche.
a
You have a
Porsche
Porsche
Cayman
as number 1. So that's also, is that your, like, if you had no cars, would that be your first car you buy?
first car I buy.
So practicality, you're not driving anything else but a Porsche.
No,
First
no.
car.
It's not
Okay.
driving in
so-
the rain
got
or
it.
the
So-
snow or
Right. So then I run out very quickly after that and I buy like a 2010 to like 13 Escalade. Listen, we're not talking about price right now.
My respect for you just dropped immensely.
I
Why
did
is
not
that?
see that coming.
Escalade?
Escalade for the family. I got 3 children and a
I would
dog.
have more respect for you if you stuck with your Honda Odyssey that you already own. I'm not even lying.
Listen, can we talk
Escalade?
about? Did you
gonna-
see? It would be
Keep
an
the Escalade.
You're up
disc.
to 2. You're up to
Okay,
2.
2 cars.
God damn it.
Okay, so
You got 3 more, Rob. Right now.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's quick. Come on. I had it. You asked me the question. I'm asking
I
you
did
the
ask
question back.
Okay. So we would probably be.
I mean, it's only
I
going to
gotta.
be.
I gotta
an
think
infamy.
that the GT350 would be in there.
It has to be.
It would be in there.
I would feel really bad if it wasn't, because I heard your last podcast when you wouldn't crush that and Pete would, even though he said by the end he wouldn't, but I still don't believe him.
Okay, so then I have to have some sort of classic retro mod, something.
Yeah.
Either a 69 Mustang or like a 69 Barracuda.
And let's keep these just so we're in. So like Pete's not going to say I want a AMG G-Wagon. Let's keep these under 50K.
Whoa, wait
I'm
a
just
minute.
saying. I'm just saying.
No. You said 5 cars. You didn't say for real.
I'm saying 5 cars. Let's
said if you could
preface
have
it.
Listen,
5
if it
cars.
was-
Okay, let's preface it. 5 cars realistically.
No,
No, listen.
No.
Listen. I'm giving you more. 80K.
it's his podcast.
Because even 80K doesn't give you a new Porsche 911.
It's not my podcast. Okay, it's not
Because
my.
I
It's
said-
not my
he
place.
said 5 cars.
Okay.
What are they?
You're right. 5 cars. What
Okay,
are they?
Nobody-
so my
You're in
first
it.
my
Yeah.
first Cayman is no longer a Cayman. It's a Cayman GT4. Okay, so that thing.
Let's keep it at 50. Keep it at 50 grand.
So the
You're-
GT4 is no longer on my list. It can't be. It's nowhere near.
I'm not playing.
It's like
This-
80.
No normal person has 5 cars. So to put some unrealistic cap on the price is bullshit.
So I got the Cayman, Escalade, GT350, the Resto Mod, either the like late 60s Mustang or the Barracuda.
Okay.
My last car.
I would go Barracuda since you already have a Mustang GT350.
Exactly
Yeah,
right.
go ahead.
Barracuda for
Okay,
sure.
now, fifth car.
I love late 60s Barracudas. Last car, like 2008 Audi R8 Spider.
2008 Spider.
Yes.
R8 Spider.
R8 Spider. I love that car.
Wow.
I absolutely love that car.
I respect that. That's
First gen
I don't like the Spider.
Did they make it manual?
manual.
So which
They
which
had the
cars were
gated-
manual? Which more cars are manual from what you bought?
So can they be all of them? They won't be all of
It
them.
can be.
So the Cayman is manual. The Escalade is automatic. The
GT350 better be manual.
Obviously manual.
I found one for $29,000 that had damage.
No.
It was a rebuilt title,
It was
but it was automatic, so I can't get it.
can't get it. The Resto Mod, take it or leave it, whatever. I don't know that it matters. Prefer manual, but a lot of those cars came
A lot
out
of the
back in
classic
day.
cars. I mean, like my '69, Cougar. It's an automatic,
Right.
Like
It's
actually
more about
would-
the experience.
I
of
probably
driving that
wouldn't
car.
want to drive that as a manual,
Right.
Like
It's probably trash.
yeah,
So automatic probably, and then the R8 is a manual that gated, the giant
Yeah,
gated
for
shifter.
sure.
Yeah, those
All
are my
right.
5 cars.
You've had a lot of time now, Peter, because that took a while to get that out of Rob. So, as your host of Joyride Podcast, what 5 cars would you choose to own right now, and would they be automatics or manuals?
I think it's interesting that neither of you two said anything that was
Chevy,
super,
I know it's
supercar or hypercar focused. And in my immediate 5, none of those cars popped in my head.
So I
either.
think that's like such a great point. Like
Yeah.
seriously, that's such
Yeah.
a great
you
point.
don't need a
because,
supercar.
but at the same time, did you guys grow up with supercars as like?
I really wanted a Lamborghini Diablo.
Do you,
though.
do you remember the 2002 BMW M3? And I remember you telling me, I wasn't even into BMWs. I just found the poster, and you're like, "That's the coolest thing ever." I seriously remember you telling me that it was
It's
a
because it
BMW
is the
thing.
coolest thing ever.
But like
It's
you
pretty
are
good.
But at the same time,
Mid
this is
2000s BMW.
this is when we were 16 years old,
Yeah.
and you are a BMW guy to
Yeah.
this day.
Yep.
I do highly respect BMWs. There is probably in my 7th, 8th car, I would have a 2003 M3 BMW as my
That's a solid
as a car.
choice.
Like when we were in high school, we would go to that dealership
Mm-hmm.
in Canton. That was a Toyota BMW dealership, and we would just stare at M3s.
Yeah.
Like those cars, that body style is amazing.
The E46 M3
Yeah.
is probably one of the best looking,
Amazing.
best all around cars has ever been.
And you
made.
can find them for $15,000 to $20,000 in great
Absolutely.
condition.
Yeah.
And
if you're not afraid,
you can find them in 13,000.
If you're- if
you
you're
can find them
best
in
friends-
$10,000 condition.
if you're great friends with a mechanic, it's not a bad
Yeah,
choice.
you got 180,000 miles on those things.
Yeah, you
but-
gotta know
all right,
somebody
so
that can
you
work
got
on
2
it.
cars down.
What 2 cars down?
What did you say?
I didn't say shit. You guys took over my interview.
All right, so Pete, what are your 5 cars?
I started by saying I thought it was interesting that nobody picked a supercar.
Okay.
And
GMC Sierra. You can't not have a truck. You own a
No,
farm. You have a farm.
yeah.
You can't not have a truck.
it's
But what would your truck be?
if I had the opportunity to answer this question, I would say GMC
I'm gonna
Denali,
Stay quiet.
quad cab.
What level?
Denali. Yeah.
Okay, 1,500, 2,500, 3,500.
I don't like what they do at the 2,500. Like the mirrors are different, the headlights are different. I just don't like.
So what would you do?
Probably 1,500.
Stay 1,500?
Yeah.
Okay.
For what I need. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the new stuff, the brand new stuff.
What
is
year
different.
do you want the newest? Do you like the newest, or do you?
I don't like.
So
the
you
newest
go
shit.
like your body style,
I
like
go my
16,
body
15,
style,
16, something like that.
I really have my same truck.
Yeah.
I'd keep the truck.
Well,
Nice. I respect that.
I 100%
I'd keep
agree.
it.
I would probably just keep my same truck.
I'd
Like
keep
I don't
the
have a
truck.
plan to.
When it's a truck like that, when it's a utility type vehicle, it doesn't really need to be the latest.
And it becomes
greatest.
you pay it off and becomes a farm truck.
yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
It'll-
you can
it'll
still
do
keep it
work.
nice.
I definitely have the E46 M3.
absolutely.
Yeah.
do it in
Solid
the
pick,
candy
dude.
apple red with the black interior manual.
But would you go convertible or
Right.
coupe? And I know you'd go coupe. Okay, coupe. Move on.
Coupe is the right choice. Do you know how
Do you
cheap?
need me here for this part?
Do you need? The convertibles are so cheap, though.
They are.
They're so cheap.
Here's the thing
They're
that
so trash.
the Pete. Okay, it is. Here, Pete and I have been friends way too long.
I keep the 63 Impala.
Okay.
What's the reason behind that?
I like the
Family
body
stuff?
lines. My dad has a 63 Impala.
I think it's important.
Yeah,
Like-
he has one. It's my favorite of the cars he has. He has some. He's had some really cool stuff. He still has a couple of neat things, but of everything he's had, I like the 63 the most.
I mean, the reality is growing up too. Like your dad had more classic cars than anybody I knew.
He was into them.
I mean, he had 7 or 8 when we were growing up.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think that's super legitimate.
I don't know why that's the one I gravitate to. So when it was time to buy a classic car, that's what I bought.
All right, so that's 3.
That's 3. I want something that is got some utility to it, but
Besides the truck?
What do you mean utility?
But I like fun utility, not like, and I don't want to say Jeep. That's what I'm trying to. So
Is that G-Wagon?
I think I want the FJ Cruiser, the new one.
What do you mean the new?
Well,
where
the
is it
newest version
Yeah,
of it.
so like
right?
a 2006.
Yeah.
You know, FJ Cruiser.
Yeah, what your dad had.
I think it was-
A friend of ours, well, he's more of an acquaintance of mine. Friend of yours has one, I think.
Who's
It's
that?
pretty sharp.
Oh, Dante.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty sharp.
Monte.
Monte.
Sorry, Dante.
But
does.
you know, like when you say 5 car, like I don't need it. I don't want like it's.
But
it's
so like
a-
you're
That's the whole thing, though,
Again,
about the
like
5-car garage.
here's the thing too, Pete. You are already at 3. Legitimately, you're at 3.
yeah,
So we could even say you have your GMC truck,
yeah,
you have your 63,
Yeah.
you have your 86.
yeah.
The next 2 cars, what are you gonna buy?
Uh,
Like legitimately, because like the reality is this is. I like the fact that it's attainable things. Rob lists off attainable things. Like I'm listing off cars that are under 50 to 30K.
yeah,
You know, as cars. You already have 3. You already have 3 cars, and I know that you always flirt with the fact of like, do you get rid of the 86?
yeah.
You know, for something else, for
Yeah.
a 5 Series or
Yeah.
M5, like whatever. You only need 1 BMW, maybe 2. You know, like.
See, and I disagree. I
I'm just saying, maybe from my perspective,
yeah.
you are a BMW guy. I'm not
Yeah.
faulting that.
there's probably 5
And I respect that.
BMWs.
And like, so when you look at, for me, Mercedes, BMW, Lexus, BMW's by far. I love
where it is.
BMW. Right?
They're just enthusiast cars.
Yeah,
Right?
they're like
Absolutely.
the
Now, Mercedes people are going to blow us up in the comments on that because they have a pretty
Sure.
strong following. Nobody drives a Lexus unless
Yeah.
you're a 58-year-old woman.
E63 AMG. I love it. You guys razzing the
E63 wagon.
wagons.
my
That's-
last-
I would
my-
totally get it.
My last car, I think, is a 750 Li.
So if we went back to, you have these 3 cars now. What was your 4th car?
Truck. I didn't say I was keeping the E30.
Okay.
You assumed I would. But
Assumed.
But
truck,
E46.
E46,
Yeah.
M3, the 63, the FJ Cruiser,
FJ Cruiser. That's what it was.
and then a BMW 750
Okay.
long wheelbase.
You wouldn't go M for the 7?
No, I need an everyday.
So the 7 Series
take the
would be
wife
your
to
everyday.
dinner.
Would the
meet a
7
client
Series
for
be the everyday?
daily. Yeah, it would be.
It
The
would be the
daily.
daily.
Well, it would depend on what my day had that day. Like
Sure.
if I was meeting clients or going out to dinner with my wife in the city, like you drive the 750, right?
Yeah.
If I was being my true self, running errands, like listening to music, probably the truck. Right? It just depends on what kind of mood I'm in that day.
Yeah.
Well, Adam, thanks for joining us as our second guest. On
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much for
Joyride
coming on the show.
podcast.
I appreciate. Sorry for talking so much.
No, it's been great having you here. Hit us up at joyridepod.com. Check us out there. You can hit our merch shop. You can
Yeah.
listen to the podcast
Yeah.
there.
What are you doing over there?
I want to say stuff, but you guys are ending the episode.
You want to say what stuff?
What stuff?
Peter sent me this GT350, and
Yeah.
it looks amazing.
It looked like
For
like you messed your
$45,000.
pants. Yeah,
Yeah.
I told you.
It's the same thing,
That's
Rob.
that's what I would buy.
So Rob and I texted back and forth about our GT350s that we would buy, and I would buy the Grabber Blue. I love the Grabber Blue.
Grabber Blue is a fantastic color.
He then texted me the black on black, the black gloss with black matte stripes.
Oh, yeah.
And I messed myself. It was amazing.
The great thing about the black,
They come with the decals that say fast track. But they shit on your windshield, right on the front.
Here's the thing. Once Rob sent me that, I died inside a little bit because I knew I couldn't own that car anymore. Once he sent me that, that's Rob's car. It's not my car anymore. It's
Okay,
Rob's car.
I respect that.
So that's
I respect that.
seriously like I can't go be like, hey, look, I bought a GT50 black on
Black on black.
black on matte black. What do you think, Rob?
Why not though?
Rob, I
no,
respect.
that's another episode.
No,
Damn it.
It's a.
That was mine.
Well, Rob,
It's been another episode,
it
Pete.
has been. Might be my last. I don't know.
It has not been your last, Peter.
Okay. Where can they find us?
Well, you can hit us up, joyridepod.com. You can like, subscribe, follow us, Joyride Podcast, on your favorite podcast platform. We're on iTunes, we're on Google, Stitcher,
Yeah.
all of them.
Well, that's another episode with our very special guest.
Thank you so much, Adam, for coming out
Thank you.
from Highbank.
Hi back.
Go check them out at highbankco.com. Buy some yummy spirits for yourself.
Yeah. Play us out, Robert.
Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the ride.
How do you describe your spirit? So yummy.
You're fucking yummy. I don't know what to say.
I don't disagree. Guys, that last episode was a little rough for me.
Look at how much fucking whiskey we drank.
I was realizing how much I was rambling to the end. Pete was looking at me like, dude, I'm sober. You're not sober right now. Everybody says you guys have great radio voices.
Both of us?
Both of you.
Wow.
I think you're confusing
People
that
do
with-
say that they say more about Pete.
I know. I've
But
heard a lot about
There's
Pete's
also
radio voice.
here's the thing. What I love about you, Rob, is you're authentic. Your voice sounds real, right? Pete's voice is like, "Hey, I'm here for the 1990s sex mix,"
Oh, shit.
Nobody,
which sounds obviously. I mean, everything that sounds
nobody thinks
amazing.
I have a good
sounds
voice.
amazing.
He's confusing when people say he has a face for radio and not a radio voice. You're getting the quote wrong. That's the
No,
problem.
it's not the quote. I mean, people think you have a great radio voice, which means you're like Delilah from the 1990s.
Delilah. Those are high marks.
Y'all remember?
Peter.
Those are
Yeah.
I remember Delilah.
Love someone tonight.
Listen, Delilah had a syndicated radio show.
Yeah, she was
get down on some Delilah.
She was viral before viral happened.
Yeah, right.
Shout out Delilah.
She's probably like 90.
She probably retired.
There's no way Delilah's 90.
She's not 90. She's probably like, I'm guessing 70.
You have a computer.
I was going to say early 60s. Let's hit it. All right, Adam.
I'm guessing 68.
What do you get?
That's my
What do you
guess.
hit?
75.
I'm going to go 63. Delilah, radio host. Here we go.
68.
Born 1960.
She's young. She's 60.
She's born in 1960.
Born February 15th, 1960.
Oh, we almost have the same birthday.
Almost.
It's 40. She's 60 years old.
She's 60 years old.
What'd you say?
I said 68.
I said 62. I was
You
closest.
I said 75.
you said, originally you said 98.
Yeah. No. I was quoting 98 Degrees, which played on her.
Oh, yeah. Look at it's fine. Shout out to Delilah.
I look worse than that at 35. Like, she's doing something better than
It's
us.
true. You looked worse than that at 17.
Shut up.
Delilah. Love someone tonight.
So all that stuff about Delilah getting cut out, right?
I loved that, by the way. When I knew that's when things were working out. When Adam was texting Pete and I and saying, "Hey, your 5K challenge, great idea. Guess what I found?"
yeah.
Yeah,
we literally could be like single-handedly responsible for the divorce, or at least
no,
couch
I'm never
sleeping
gonna
of-
divorce my wife. I love my
6
wife so much.
It won't be your choice. She'll leave you. That's
Here's
what
the
I'm
thing,
saying.
Erica. I will always love you so much. Just don't leave me for stupid choices. I could use more coffee.
Well,
Where's
there's no more coffee, but there's more.
Where's your assistant?
Jerry?
Jerry.
Coffee. Shit. He disappeared again.
He's sleeping behind the glass. Seriously, you guys need to get somebody else.
I know. He's the only guy that shows up, though.
Oh man, we're gonna have to cut this laughing out.
Yep. That's about sums it up, folks. I'll see you later. Can I be a guest on your new podcast?
What happens, man?